the chat. And also, what was I going to say? So I can also just, yeah, get things up on the bigger screen. In a minute, I might see if I can get a white background up, though, with the pop-out chat, just so that way I can, what was I going to say, sort of have more light coming off the screen so it lights the video better. So anyway, let's pause that there. Make sure the settings are correct, because as I said, annoyingly, doing a stream on your phone to the PC does different default settings, which means it, you know, I have to reset the settings every single time I do a stream. So, right, there's that. If I do pop-out chat, all right, Rajiv? So I'll do pop-out chat, and then if I just get a pure white screen up, pure white screen test, let's do that. There we go, excellent. And then I can just put the pop-out chat as a little window in there. You're on for about 10. Right, that's all right. Just thought I'd do a stream like this today, see how many people come on. Got a video filmed of the air rifle this morning, but yeah, like I said, the funny thing with the lighting is, like I said, is that if I have it just on a regular desktop or whatever, it doesn't look as good. Or especially with lots of sites now where they have black screens, look, where obviously it's designed to look nicer for your eyes in a dark room, which I definitely think is better. But yeah, like I said, if I get a pure white screen thing up on my screen, I can put the pop-out chat as a thing in front of it. No, like literally said, it's just the monitor on a pure white screen, look. So, what I've done, look, is I'm on pure white test screen. It's a website. You can get a few like this to see if there's problems with your monitor. And then I'm using that just to reflect the light back. Because like I said, I've noticed that before when I've done mobile, that if I'm on a site that has quite bright backgrounds, it looks a lot better because of how much light a big monitor is going to throw off. But yeah, like I said, if I wonder if there's a pure black screen just to show you the difference. And I could just turn my PC off. Okay, the same website has a few different ones. So if I go onto pure black screen, that now will look like that. Whereas if I then go to the pure white screen, you can immediately see the lighting's better. So yeah, I've got the little side lamp on, but I don't know how much difference that's making. But again, that's just, again, I've got that where it's sort of, yeah, there we go, bouncing off the curtains a bit, which again, that helps a little bit. But that light's really fiddly, because the annoying thing is, although it's a flexi arm light and stuff like that, I find it quite hard to get that particular light into a position where it doesn't, you know, half shadow something. And obviously if I have it directly shooting at me like a spotlight, even with the softbox sort of mode on it, it's still a bit dazzling. All right, Rote. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with that particular one. Like I said, I can open the curtains a bit, but it's not a very sunny day, so opening the curtains doesn't really do much. It's one of those, you know, that's probably more efficient. Yeah, I've actually got a couple of like little softbox lights that are pretty good, Rajiv, but yeah, they're generally better for illuminating, I'd say, like a subject for a video rather than the person. So I found if I put them on my desk facing me, although they're all right, again, they're not as good as just using them to set up a little angle, you know, like that sort of way. Again, that I've got a yellow bulb in there, though, not the ceiling light, if you can see that, is a yellow bulb, not an actual like white bulb, because the ceiling bulb, again, for just comfort reasons, I prefer yellowy looking LEDs to like the cold sort of white blue ones for the ceiling light. So yeah, anyway, let's get the mannequin back in. But yeah, like I said, the lighting does work quite well on that. All right, cheers. Thank you, Chronic Catch Up. I'm glad that you have such an inspirational message to share. I hope that didn't sound sarcastic. But yeah, the weird thing is if I do a vertical stream like this, YouTube actually shares them to some degree where it doesn't. But yeah, what was I going to say? So yeah, annoyingly, filmed a video with the air rifle I really wanted to do a video on today while my neighbour's away. and it stopped working after 4 shots. I've already contacted the owner because, as I said, these are ones where my mate, who can't shoot where he currently lives at all because he's in like a block of flats, basically is getting me to look after his air rifles for him, and he said, obviously you can shoot them, just don't do anything silly with them. And I was doing a video on one of his really expensive ones, and a few shots in today it packed in working. So I've contacted him. He's already saying, look, I don't blame you at all. I'll have to, at some point have a gun shop repair it or whatever. We think it's either the spring or the like gas compression that's gone on it. So it's an Air Arms Pro Sport, which is a pretty damn expensive air rifle now. I was going to get myself one at one point. I'm kind of glad now I didn't, because one, I'm able to borrow this one, and as well that like I said, if it's had a catastrophic failure like this, I'm kind of a bit worried if I bought one, it would have the same thing, even though they're meant to be like the most premium air rifles in the world kind of thing. It's not a good sign, really. It's like I said, it seems to be the sort of thing where like the compression thing's gone, which is basically like where you have an air rifle. Obviously, how it works is using a spring or a gas ram mechanism. It compresses air into the like chamber behind where it shoots the pellet, like its air reservoir or whatever you want to call it, air tank. And obviously, it looks like the thing in this that some part in the compression mechanism is all right, Casper. Looks like something in the compression mechanism's gone wrong. As in, let's see if I can get that light's moved again. That's why it's being a bit shitter again. There we go. That's better. So yeah, it looks like something in the actual compression mechanism has gone. So either it's not fully compressing the air, or it's not, like fitting all the safety checks to say the air is compressed and ready to go. So obviously for storage, again, I've unloaded a pellet for it, so it's as safe as can be. But yeah. Ah, cool. I haven't seen the episode 5 preview. I'll have to watch that if I can find it. But yeah, so there's actually masks in it now, is there? Because like I said, that's the annoying thing, is most of the TV series 1 and 2, there hasn't been masks. And I'm surprised they didn't do the mask thing. They instead did the bite for that bit in the subway, because it's sort of interesting, because the Rat King's during Abby's bit, not yeah, we were on about The Last of Us. The Rat King is in like I said, the Abby bit, not the Ellie bits, if they're mostly doing the Ellie bits as series 2, not series 3 sort of thing. Oh, so their reasoning was COVID, it would upset people. That's a bit silly, because that's purely like the best reason to have that stuff like that in that, is that right, so there's going to be a bit in the same hospital, yeah. Because I suppose it's day 2 Seattle, isn't it, as Ellie, probably next episode. Because we've already had it. But what was I going to say? Aren't they going to have a bit first where, because the girl that dies in the TV station hasn't done, and I thought they said the name of that place where the school is, where the other guy dies in the game, so it might be them next. They're going to have those characters in the school. Yeah, I like Rec. I like the proper Recs, though, the actual Spanish ones, not the American remake they did of Rec. I actually quite like Rec 3, even though Rec 3 is completely different because it's more actiony, isn't it, Rec 3? But yeah, Rec 1 and 2 are pretty good. But yeah, like I said, I definitely thought the Spanish version was better than the American one. Yeah, like we said, because the guy playing Isaac is actually the person who voiced him in the game, who is also a proper actor, whose name I'll forget. I'll look it up now. Oh, Jeffrey Wright, there you go. I remember him mostly, Rajiv, and I know this isn't his thing. I think his name's something like that, Dr. Nasu or Dr. Nassar or something like that in Boardwalk Empire. But the other characters call him Dr. N-word, as in the gamer word, because he's an educated black person. So they call him Doctor, and then the N-word, because he's got a name that starts with N and he's a doctor. and it's set in like the 20s or whatever, where everybody's obviously very racist. So I specifically remember him as the guy that plays Doctor and then the N-word, which again I know is not his proper name, but and he's a really good villain in that, and is in like, you know, one of those villains you really hate. But yeah, like I said, he's really good in Boardwalk Empire because he's one of those people that you actually properly dislike. That's one of the things I like with HBO, because they did the same with Deadwood. That you get some villains in that are actually proper villains, you know, not ones where they're like the likable type villains, which again is still good writing if you have a likable villain. But in both Boardwalk Empire and like I say, and then like the guy that played Hearst in Deadwood, they're both villains you think are complete fucking scumbags, you know, and you want to see something really bad happen to them. Boardwalk Empire, the one that has Steve Buscemi in it, that's about Prohibition America. That's very good. It's got Stephen Graham in it, and quite a lot of famous people as well. That's a really, really good TV series, Boardwalk Empire. So the only annoying thing with Boardwalk Empire is series 1 to 4 are really, really good. Series 5, the last series, HBO massively cut the budget and made them finish it early because Game of Thrones. They wanted all the budget for Game of Thrones. Yeah, Boardwalk Empire. So series 5, they had to try and like wrap everything up in not even a full series, because they didn't even give them a full series to do it. Right, see you, Rajiv. Never watched Prison Break. I'm trying to think. Other than Last of Us, there isn't much TV series I've watched recently. I don't think. Made a weird little hand foot thing, some blue tack lumps just sat here. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Have I watched any TV series recently other than Last of Us? There's nothing jumping to mind, but that isn't to say I haven't watched something and just it's completely gone off, you know, the thing, you know, where I've forgotten I've watched it. Oh yeah, I've heard Day of the Jackal is pretty good. They said because there's the original Day of the Jackal film, there's the Day of the Jackal like remake, isn't there? And then there's the TV series. No, barely ever watch cricket at all, dead stock, so I certainly don't watch it on YouTube. I never got into The Wire, Rajiv. It's just one of those shows where loads of people like The Wire, but I just couldn't get into it. So again, I'm not saying it's a bad show, but again, I've found that with quite a few series. There's some series people really like and I've never got into them, and vice versa, you know, where there's series as I've really liked and other people don't like. I thought The Sopranos was all right, but again, The Sopranos was one of those HBO shows that I sort of thought was really overrated. I didn't think it was bad, but, you know, I watched all of it, but I didn't think it was anywhere near as good as a lot of people make out The Sopranos. Again, Rajiv, The Wire is something I might give another shot at some point. Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind to watch it. But again, like with everything, like with films and games and that, sometimes you just get stuff you just personally don't get into for whatever reason. Yeah, again, like I said, Sopranos is one of those ones. I think there was probably some really good episodes, but I think again it was one of those series that was just a bit, you know, weird at points, or you know, like felt a bit padded out. You know, where they. No, you're thinking of House of Cards. I've never actually watched the US House of Cards. I couldn't get into it. The British House of Cards is very good, but the reason I don't like the American House of Cards is it's kind of like the same as the British one, except for each of the British one series was 4 episodes in the series, and the US one felt really dragged out to me for that reason, that they, you know, then did 8 episodes or whatever per series. So it was like double the runtime for all the same events. Okay, Rajiv. So is it one of those ones where some of the series is you might like more of The Wire than others because it's a different sort of theme, sort of thing? Do you mean? That's got the same guy in it we you're on about that was in Deadwood, not Deadwood, in Boardwalk Empire and The Last of Us. Series 1 is very good, but I never watched the later series, and I heard they were shit. As in, I never watched the later series because I never actually remembered to get around to watching them, but I know most people hated the later series. But yeah, I like the Westworld TV's, the actual old Michael Crichton film, which partly inspired the Terminator when Yul Brynner's going after the bloke in it. Is very Terminator-esque, isn't it? But yeah, the Westwood film I like. And what's the other thing with the Westworld, not Westwood, Westworld film? The other thing with that is don't think too hard about the guests can't kill each other because of the things, because in medieval world and Roman world they have swords, and I don't think swords have IR sensors on them to stop you hitting somebody if it's a person. Because their like little explanation thing in the thing is that the guns in Westworld itself have the IR sensors on, so if there's body heat, it won't let you shoot at somebody. But the other funny thing with Westworld as well is the book is by Michael Crichton, or I can't remember if Westworld was a book or if he did it just first as a film, like did it as a screenplay. But it's the exact same fucking plot as Jurassic Park, and I think he did that same plot a couple of other times, Michael Crichton, where there's a theme park, it goes wrong, and the attraction is killing the guests. It's like he did recycle, and I think it was because at the time Westworld didn't do massively well. I think because at the time it didn't do very well, Westworld. I think that's why he then redid Jurassic Park sort of thing, because he thought not enough people saw this, and I think I had a good plot going, so I'll just change robots to dinosaurs. No, I don't know what Project 326 is, and what is the Type 75? A gas mask or a tank or what? Because Type 75 on its own doesn't say much. But the answer is no, I haven't seen whatever channels that is video. Because I think there's a Chinese Type 75. Oh, what, the DP75? Or a different one? As in the one I've got, the big green brick. But the answer is no, I haven't seen it. Not seen that at all. When you say the game, did you mean the guy? The guy who did Singing in the Rain? Because the game who did Singing in the Rain, that doesn't make any sense. The last film I watched, although it's not a full-length film, is was it called, like, I think it was Explorer from Another World, and it was a very B-movie-y sort of what was I going to say? It was a very B-movie alien thing, but that was quite fun. So it's like very, very like bad acting on purpose sort of thing. Very over the top gore on purpose. Yeah, I know what you mean, Guy. You meant yeah, I know what you mean now. But no, I've not seen Saturn 3. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. What do you call it? Um, that was quite good because it's about an alien that just comes to Earth in like the early 60s or whatever. And when it shoots people with their like laser gun, their limbs fly off and loads of blood splatters everywhere, kind of thing. He's very much Crypto from Destroy All Humans. Not that he sounds like Jack Nicholson or anything, but it's like a creepy looking alien in one of those giant domed sort of spacesuit looking sort of alien sort of suit sort of things. And he just walks around shooting people with, like a destructor ray sort of ray gun thing that I already said no. Why are you asking the question again? I've said like no several times. No, I haven't seen it. Explorer from Another World. It's on Amazon Prime for free. But like I said, it's not a full-length film. It's 40-odd minutes. So it's yeah, it's like 40-50 minutes long. And what surprised me is it was only made by about 10 to 20 people or something. So it's like one of those films that's kind of like a college art class sort of things film, but you know, really stupidly well made for what it is. You know, where when I watched it, I didn't realize until the credits came up that yeah, it's a tiny, like independent film. But yeah, it's like, you know, like a piss take of all the B movie sort of sci-fi ones where there's what do you call it? You know, like where it's very, very sort of small town, like hillbilly America, and a spaceship come down. If you think the Blob and that, it's definitely like what it's inspired by, all those sort of films. Anyway, I won't be on too much longer today because, like I said, I know I've only been on about 20-odd minutes, but I don't think there's that many people on at the moment. So yeah, I'll probably just go on and sort some other stuff out I need to get done today if there's not loads of people on. But yeah, like I said, I've still got this week. I need to get some more videos done on some of those Chinese gas masks I picked up. Which one? The original or the remake? The Blob is one of the few films where I think the remake is a lot better. No, I did not buy anything during Steam War Game sale. The only game I bought recently was Dead Zone Rogue. I said, which I've been playing a bit of, but that's not a war game sort of game sale. I think the war game sale, most of the games I'd have wanted, I'd have probably already owned in that. The only thing that is war game related that is on my sort of wish list at the moment, that again I'm waiting for it to come out and maybe have a sale and whatever, is Broken Arrow, because it's pre-order now, isn't it? And I want the game to be fully out. I don't want to pre-order that. I want to actually see what it's like when it comes out. But Broken Arrow is meant to be a bit like sort of War Game and War No, those sort of games. It's Broken Arrow's been one of those weird ones where every now and again they've done a sort of thing where what you call it, you sort of get a like thing where they do like a public little playtest thing. So how it differs from Regiments and like Warno and War Game, I don't know, but that's one I'm keeping an eye on. But like I said, I'm gonna wait till it's fully out and see, actually look at videos to see if it's any, you know, different enough to be interesting. Ah, cool. The one I'm most looking forward to is yeah, I saw Ryanair's doing that because of all the tariffs. Some of the Chinese masks are good, some are not so good. It depends. That's why I'm doing videos on all of the ones. Like that Chinese panoramic mask I have. Is it still in this room? This one is very good. Like, this one is amazingly good for what it is. But yeah, with Stronghold, I'm really, really waiting for Stronghold Crusader Definitive Edition in July or whenever it launches. That I am really looking forward to, because again, I really like Stronghold Definitive Edition. I really like Stronghold Crusader, so I'm really looking forward to like I said, Stronghold Crusader Definitive Edition, because it will have the like player versus AI sort of multiplayer in it, where it's obviously Stronghold Definitive Edition just has PvP AI only, whereas in Definitive Edition you can do PvPvE sort of thing, so you can play against other people, or like do comp stomps or whatever, or have AI allies, or you know, however you want to do the teams, which means it's got a lot more replayability also, because a lot of my friends, if they're not really into an RTS game, don't want to play them online against other people. They, you know, just want to have an easy AI. Then if they get all right, go to like a medium sort of difficulty AI, that sort of thing. I've played a few of the Total War games. My favourite one was the expansion for the Shogun one, or whatever it was. Shogun. I keep wanting to say Shoigu and Shogun together. Shoigu Garasimov! The Shogun one where you could get like the Royal Marines and everything in it. And the French and the Yanks. I bought the Thrones of Britannia when it was on sale a while ago, and that's okay. Thing is with the Total War games is I never really get into the campaign mode. I just kind of like doing the battles in them. So that's the kind of problem, is I never have the patience for them because I never find the campaign very interesting. I only like doing the battles. But yes, some Chinese masks are very good, like this one. Others are a bit shit, some are mediocre. As I said, as I go through each of those Chinese masks and I do a video on them, you'll find out what I think of each one that I bought recently. But like some of the Chinese military masks are very good as well. It's just generally the Chinese sort of, at one point they had very, very low standards for what was on AliExpress. Anyway, like I said, I'll head off because I've got shit to do today. So have a good day, everybody. And, oh, hype's come on just as I'm going off. Yeah. All right, I'll stay on another few minutes. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Like I said, did a video earlier that goes on tonight, sort of / tomorrow morning. A person saying, was Hitler a good-looking man? I don't really know because I'm not gay. In terms of Hitler and the Nazis, they had very good-looking uniforms. But anyway, what was I going to say regarding... But that's completely thrown me off now, that question. What was it I was going to say about the stuff before then is, yeah, I was doing a video hype on my mate's air rifle. He's letting me borrow all his air rifles / look after him while he lives in a flat where he never gets a chance to shoot them. Yeah, Hugo Boss. And what's really annoying is his really expensive air arms air rifle, which I had a look, and they're now about RRP £850, these air rifles. I was doing some shots of it. It was absolutely fine for the first 3 shots I got on, video. I did one shot just shooting a big thing to check that the zeroing wasn't so far off it was going to be missing everything. Then the 2 shots I then did on video hit the target exactly where I was aiming, which is great. Or if it was thrown off, it was thrown off enough. It was still very good on the camera kind of thing. Then when I went to cock it the 4th time, the fucking thing won't cock anymore. So I've had to contact him, and he's going to maybe, when he has the spare cash and actually might plan on using it himself again, he's going to have to send it off to be repaired and pay for the repair. But it's probably something to do with the spring or the like air compressor in it, because it's a Springer, but like a very high-end Springer. So the issue is now where you've got in the wooden furniture, like, the brake lever, you fold down and then it goes limp when it's fully cocked to basically, you then put it up and can take the safety off. The funny thing is, like, now, well, not funny, it won't actually, it's completely limp, so it's just like flops there, the thing, and it won't go back into the stowing position to let you disengage the thing. I'm pretty sure it's not a gas ram, which is the piston one. I'm pretty sure it is a Springer according to their technical specs. But yeah, I'm just gonna actually have a look. Air Arms Pro Sport, but I'm pretty sure it is a Springer. Yeah, it's spring powered, it says. But yeah, so I'm assuming that either the spring snapped under tension when it was nearly fully cocked and now it's limp like that, or it's a case that there's been some leakage in the gas chamber. Yeah, something like that. But like I said, because it's his air rifle, obviously I'm not going to take it apart and do anything with it. And like you said, he's probably, because it's a really expensive one, will actually pay to get it professionally looked at. But yeah, like I said, annoyingly, it's a case of, like I said, it worked absolutely fine for several shots. And then all of a sudden, I thought it cocked all right, went to put the pellet in and then, redo it. Where are you, Radium Girl? Because in places like the UK is just weird, where you can't officially buy lots of check sources, but it's not illegal to have them. So if you just buy a counter that ends up having a check source in, it's not a problem, sort of thing. Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, like you said, because he wants to have it done professionally, it's not a case that we can diagnose really what's wrong with it ourselves. I think he's just gonna have to pay, like, the base repair fee, and then. But I think even in quite high-end air guns like that, it's normally not very expensive parts that need. Ah, fair enough. I think it's going to be one of those sort of issues where, yeah, Singapore. But yeah, anyway, I will be off now. Hope everybody has a good day. Like I said, so there is an air rifle video going on tonight. Yeah, got stomped on front. That's actually pretty interesting. But yeah, like you said, it's probably one that you can't now actually send, is it? You'll probably just have to keep it yourself if it's a case of it's a bit dodgy sending it through various things if it flags stuff up. But oh, I suppose that's a pretty cool thing for you to own anyway. Regardless, I am, like I said, I'm going to go off because I think one of my mates, it's his day off work today, so I'm going to see if he wants to play any games. Yeah. But like I said, tomorrow morning there'll be a video on that air rifle. And like I said, it was all good for 3 bloody shots. And then just as I was getting into it, and I knew the scope was all good and everything else, like I said, the thing just stopped working. He has got 3 other air rifles he's lent me that I'm allowed to use. So tomorrow I might get one of those out and have a go with one of those instead. But yeah, I mean, he's not going to be happy if all the air guns start failing while I own them. But we think with that particular one as well, it's because it's probably been several years since it's last been cocked and shot. So it could just be a case of where, from sitting around for ages, the parts have just, had no use whatsoever. Right, see you everyone. Have a good day, and I'll be on tomorrow.